Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming to another video. All right, let's jump straight in. Do you see why I said we need to fear this team? This is exactly why I said this, Lakers. You need to fear this team because at the end of the day, they've been here, they've done that, they've seen it all, done it all. And even though we have LeBron James and Anthony Davis, they haven't been on the floor that much. And they haven't been on the floor that much with these guys. And these guys are young, and these guys haven't been on the floor that much with each other. And it's just an oblivion of inexperience. So, couple that with the rookie coach, who I think is actually doing a pretty good job in this round, man. I ain't mad at Darvin Ham even tonight. I just want him to identify when Rui Hachimura is playing well. That needs to be something you jump into right away. You got to adjust into that. You got to get him on the floor and get him down there. And I don't care if you got to put him at the 2, but you got to make sure he's on the floor. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he's going shooting, what is it, 80% from the 3 or something like that, I mean, come on, what are we doing? So I'm of the mindset that he should probably be put in more rotational situations. I don't want to say the starting lineup, even though that's what I'm thinking. I don't think so, because at the end of the day, we need Vanderbilt on the floor to chase Steph Curry around. Now, we got to make sure Vanderbilt is cool, man. That knee and that leg injury, he fell down funky. And even though he's a player who gets back up and runs, I'm still very much concerned about that knee there. There's something to be said for guys who just keep going. You know what I mean? They're gonna play through or anything, no matter what. But it's incumbent upon the organization to keep an eye on those guys, so that they're not playing through something that they have no business playing through, or risking their injuries getting worse, I guess is what I'm trying to word. So I'm not speaking anything into existence, but Vanderbilt comes off as the type of dude who just could keep on running. He'll just keep running. You know what I mean? And so we want him to be durable. We ask him to do plenty. And he really, really, really is fantastic when he's 100% healthy. And I think he wants to have a long career and the ability to do what he does freely. So let's learn from some of the players of the past who did what he did in his fashion, and monitor his body, monitor his health, and make sure that he doesn't start picking up any type of funny injuries just playing through because he's really young and can do so. You want to stay young and learn from the old guys who struggle with their bodies because they didn't do what it is I'm talking about when they were younger. You got to monitor these things and just continue to just take care of yourself out there. You know what I mean? And utilize whatever is possible to do so. And so that's what I see. It's Vanderbilt playing excellent defensively. He's having a hard time getting them going offensively, but I'm positive, absolutely positive, that if he continues to work on the offensive side of the ball, he will grow on that side and become much better as he continues to age. But again, one of the things I love about him is his speed. He's fast, and his body reacts very well to what it is he's thinking. So we got to keep his conditioning in order so that can continue to be the case. Because if he continues to ascend and get in better shape as his career continues to go, this dude is going to turn into a serious all-star. But if he throws his body around reckless and has falls and tumbles like he did today, he could have some staggers in those circumstances. And so we just got to be real about that and continue to take care of all our players. Austin Reaves is definitely the exact same way because he throws his body around a lot. He does a lot of things on both sides of the floor. He ends up on the ground a lot hard because of how he continues to look for contact and draw contact and etc. So he's banged up right now. He is, and just like we went through this with Schroeder about 2 weeks ago, we're going through it with Austin. So we're gonna have to deal with it. It's the playoffs. Guys have played 82. Etc. So at this point, I just think we need to try to figure out a way to, and I'm going to say this and I'm going to mean it, but incorporate those guards that we saw in garbage time a bit more so that we can buy some rest for those guys that I just mentioned. It really does make sense. And I really saw some good stuff in garbage time from those dudes. I think Max Christie is a player, man. I said this a couple of times throughout the season. But I think he's a guy that could have helped us so much more if he would have been playing a bit more consistently throughout the course of the season. I know that's obvious, but I think more so is to say he's a player that really feels a need for this roster, in the sense that we don't always want Dennis Schroeder and Vanderbilt chasing Steph Curry. Eventually, he's going to be a guy who's going to do that in this league. And I just think if we would have utilized him a bit more throughout the course of the season, maybe we would be a bit more confident having him on the floor, and his confidence would be a bit higher on the floor just the same. So I like what I saw from Max Christie in garbage time, but I just know there's a much more refined version of him that's played 3 times more basketball throughout the course of this season. But we brought him along slow, and it may prove to be a great thing. But I just think this year's team could use him a bit more than we've been able to show. And yeah, his attributes can help. And of course, we can always mention the obvious. Laker fans have been saying this. I'm going to say it. Lonnie Walker. He looked great in garbage time tonight. 50% shooting, if I'm not mistaken. And I just understand that Lonnie Walker is somebody who's really, really automatic. He's a weapon athletically. And I just think we're missing an opportunity there. He really does have a lot of great tools that can help us scoring the ball. And tonight, with the Golden State Warriors score 127 points, if he would have been on the floor for a good portion of the time, he would have kept the score up. Maybe the defense would have waned a little bit, but not if you surround him with the right defenders. And that's what you want to do. You want to put Lonnie Walker in defensive lineups that allow him to play team defense, allow him to shine defensively. If you do that, he'll be one of the best players on that roster, on that rotation, rather, because he will get out in transition and score the buckets that they ultimately get the stops to secure. So that's why I really want us to revisit what we're doing in regards to Lonnie Walker, because even though he's not the greatest defender, he's going to be excellent in defensive lineups that are catered to him catching the final pass in transition and dunking the ball, because he is easy buckets and they're definitely going to foul him. So that's something you can just totally take advantage of in this particular series, especially as those guards start to get a bit more tired. A guy like Wiggins is definitely going to foul him in transition. GP2, same thing. Yeah. Dante DiVincenzo. They're going to continue to gain more confidence in using this kid. He's a fantastic defensive threat as well as an offensive shooter and scorer in the paint. I don't know how they're going to use him with so many different guards that they have to use. But he's just like Luke Kennard in a way for the Memphis Grizzlies. Different styles of play, but the same type of intensity in regards to what I'm saying about their piece to their, in regards to what they mean to their team. They come off the bench and provide you a dynamic to where you wish you had more opportunities to give them playing time, but your guards ahead of them are just stars, and so you can't get them on the floor. Bogdanovich in Atlanta, same thing. These guys you're probably better off using some nights just because they have so much talent that they could have a great night, as to where your star may just have an off night or a decent night. This dude may be having an all-star night that night and you set him. You know what I mean? And you can kind of see that in the per minute situation with him. That's what I'm saying in comparison to DiVincenzo's a guy who's going to do a little bit of that for the Golden State Warriors, but they just can't keep him on the floor long enough for him to really show it. And so in the spurts when you give him minutes, he can really feel a need for what it is that they're trying to do against us, which is what I saw them kind of adjust to tonight. Pressure on the rim is everything for this team. Layups is everything. If they can't get those, they cannot operate. And I promise you, on 9 out of 10 nights, they're not going to be able to. This just happened to be night 1 of those 10 rather. You feel me? Where it was able to find that layup ability, that dunking ability that's not going to often be available to them when we defend properly. See, the issue is they're going to have to come up with something new every night, because we're going to see what they've done here, and if we're smart enough, we're going to adjust to it. And if as they run it throughout the course of the series, it's going to have the dynamic that it had in game 1, Not necessarily the dynamic it had in game two, as to which we had never seen it before. Do you see what I'm saying? They better come up with some other geometry that has the same effect. You know what I'm saying? You can't do this against Anthony Davis for too much longer. And I was watching him on the bench as he was nodding his head, and I would never know what a person's thinking. But what came to mind when I saw him was, we got a chance to see that adjustment. We know what you're doing now. That's kind of what came to mind when I saw him nodding. Like, yeah, you got us with that. That was good. Try running it again when we've seen it before. So that's what I want to, kind of bring to the table, kind of an easy going way to absorb this loss, because we did get blown out. This is the playoffs. That is the champs, and it does decrease our, home court advantage circumstance. When you give the split, it's kind of favorable to both teams. I didn't think we could get the 2-0, to be honest with you. You are not sweeping the Golden State Warriors. But I did find myself impressed with just how well they performed against us tonight, with the adjustments made. But at the end of the day, all they are is adjustments. If they can't become advantages, then they're not really going to have that effect. You know what I mean? You watch enough playoff basketball, game 2 adjustments can really have this effect. But if they really turn into advantages to where they can repeat it and it still works, and then repeat it again and we know it's there but we can't stop it and it still works, then you can start saying, okay, we have big problems. But at this point, what I see is not that. Not at all. It's what I just described. So I think we're in a pretty okay position. I'm not going to say we're doing just fine. You got beat by the champs, so you respect that. They have confidence, but they have to prove they can win in your building. And, of course, just the same we do as well. We got to go in there and prove we could beat the champs in our building. But with the roster that we have, and I think having gotten a look at what they've done and seen what we did in the first game, I think we look okay. Now, I could say that they're outplaying us right now. Based on what, through 2 games, they are outplaying us, because their first game was rather close. They played well. They missed some shots, lost by 5. Came back, made the adjustments, beat the heck out of us. So very easily you could say they have the upper hand in the series right now. I don't know if that means anything at all, given how I'm viewing this series and just described it to you. It's just, what do we do next? You know what I mean? We're healthy. You know what I mean? So it's just up to us to now punch back. This ain't no knockout blows. No, nothing's happened. We hit our move. They hit us with their move. Their move was a little stronger. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Now we got to hit them again. So, we're a younger team, I think. And LeBron James is playing pretty solid ball. He did not turn the ball over. That's very important to me. D'Angelo Russell, same thing. Very important stat. Because I think that's one of the Achilles heels to our team. And I think it's over the course of this series, I don't want to jinx it, but history tells us they turn the ball over rather frivolously, and we can expect to see the ball coughed up into our hands coming up against the Golden State Warriors. But this may very well be one of those situations where they just figure it out. You know what I mean? Play great players just figure it out. But what I'm telling you is they're prone to. So what we want to do is keep our turnovers down. I've put an emphasis on that in these videos leading up into this series. And I like where we're at in this game. I really like where we're at in this game. Anthony Davis, I believe, had 4 turnovers. And that's something we'd like to limit. You know what I mean? But overall, our team did good. I believe. I think as it accumulates together, I think it might have been like 9 turnovers. So we can live with that. Or 8. Don't remember. But nevertheless, getting out in transition, allowing them to get in transition, is something that we don't want. You know what I mean? Again, getting to the line, getting layups, having more fouls than them, all of these different things work against us. We don't want that going up against the Golden State Warriors. They're too smart of a team, and they're fantastic at the line, so fouling them is something we don't want. We know the recipe for winning in this series. The problem is they know it just the same, and it's called a recipe for losing. So if they're going to shoot 50% from behind the arc, I'm sure both teams are just going to live with that, to say the least for them. But for us, we'll also live with it. But what we want to do is try to up their attempts. We want to force them out further away from the basket than we were allowing them to tonight. And kind of just pay attention to what they did. Some of the back cuts and some of the ways that were lined up. It was all about positioning and spacing and, spreading out. And you know what I mean? Certain situations, for example, in game one, we saw the Jordan Poole shot that everyone was complaining about. I think one of the best commentaries I saw in regards to that, I don't remember who was talking about it, but they basically said that the bottom line was he needed to be positioned differently. Even though it was an open shot, it was a low percentage shot, and if he would have moved in a different direction, maybe a few steps in a different direction to begin with, he could have been a much better threat. Or if they would have run something different, maybe they would have had a better angle and still got an open shot. So, these are things that you just come to understand when you listen to people who really know the game talk about it, and you want to see your team open up their options as well in these in-play situations. So that's really where my thought is. I think all in all, we played a little tired to start. I felt even though we had the lead there and LeBron James was hitting shots, I thought we were coasting a little bit. You could see we were a bit gassed, and so that can be concerning depending on how we use our rotations. But the fact that we got garbage time going tonight makes me feel a bit better about that. In fact, that makes me feel like that's the best case scenario. And most of your stars only ran half the night. And, Anthony Davis only got 33 minutes. Bron got under 30 minutes. I guess that's the best thing you can have happen for yourself if you're under these circumstances. I don't know if that translates to us possibly having a blowout later on, in the other direction with us being up by 40 or something like that in the series. But I do think if this series is going to be a long series and every other day these teams are going to play, and chances are you may see something like this to where both teams will just let the scores be lopsided so they can buy themselves some in-game rest. Like, I could totally see that. It makes all the sense in the world if these teams are committed to going 6 games or 7 games. Yeah, you're going to see a blowout in game 4, a blowout in game 5. Like, I'm serious. I am dead serious. Because it's the only way they're going to be able to manipulate the schedule to get the rest they need. Possibly to even get, to get as far as they want to go. These two teams, they're both older teams. Which really seems like a strange little thing that they did with this schedule. When you consider that they know that these teams have these players, what are you going to do, man? I like the fact that we're seeing basketball every other night, so I'm not complaining. And if these teams use their full benches like I'm suggesting they do, it won't be as much of a problem. So if they blow teams out in the first half, you will be able to see those players, and then I guess everybody's happy. So excellence will make the world go round the right way. I think the Lakers ultimately, there were some things they did in the right way out there. I think you can really love that first quarter and see LeBron James' 3-point shot fall in a way that shows some signs of efficiency life. That is very, very positive, and I want to continue to see that. If he's going to shoot a lot of them, it can't be him shooting 16%, friends. You know what I'm saying? So if that first half can be duplicated, or if that's going to be something that he can just improve upon as the playoffs go, obviously that would be a heaven sent for the LA Lakers. Because our king over here, man, he thinks he's Steph Curry. And I'm telling you, the real Steph Curry is telling us, that's not how you do it. You know what I mean? And he only shot about 5 of them tonight, so, Steph is being real He's mixing it up a lot. And I think he bought himself some rest tonight too. And given the fact that he usually gets his threes off of spins and runs and all types of jumps and all kinds of stuff. So, this is a very smart team. They know the chatter surrounding their team. They know that conversations being had about Steph Curry being compared to Rip Hamilton and how he runs so much and never stops and all of this. So they're gonna do everything they can to keep us guessing. Everything they can to keep us off balance, to bait us into fights, to bait us into, drawing fouls for them, and if in flopping circumstances are going to be exploited. Nothing ever stands upright in the NBA. As I often say, anything you lean up against is going to go to the ground. And so it's just one of those type of series where we have to understand this is one of the best ever. And they didn't just do it shooting the three ball. They did it understanding what really matters in regards to winning in the NBA. And because they stayed true to those things while having those extreme shooters, they just piled up the championships. But it wasn't just shooting. Do not let people lie to you and tell you the Golden State Warriors only shot the three and that's why they have NBA championships. It's not true. They are a machine. They know how to scheme in the playoffs, and with that shooting, they are very, very difficult to destroy. So that's the reality. That's what I've seen over the years, and those guys are scientists over there, man. They know what they're doing, and I don't think they have all of what they need with their roster. They are in between retooling their roster, and which is why I think we can catch them. But because they know who they are and are intent in overcoming their mistakes, I'm very much on alert about these two games on the road, because they take pride in the fact that they have lost on the road. Now, this is something that people need to really, really, really key in on right now. The Golden State Warriors have always lost on the road in this season. It's been the big thing. So for me, if I'm in their locker room, I'm going to play every possession like it's my absolute last. And if I'm them and I do that, I don't lose. So the Lakers got to play nearly perfect basketball at home if my theory is right. We're going to have to play so well to beat them, because that's Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, and Steph Curry thinking in the playoffs we haven't been able to win on the road. And while if that's a young player that's in their head and they're going to lose, right? If it's Hall of Famers like that, in their minds, they thinking that, they're going to be keen. They're going to be focused, and they're going to be sharp. Sharp as a knife, sharp as glass, all that. So understand, that's what is going to be required for our LA team. Absolute precision, good instincts in regards to in-game adjustments, and of course, the biggest thing of all, take advantage of the strengths that we have. I don't care how smart they are or what have you. Basketball is a game of matchups, and this is not a very good matchup for them. We got to utilize what we have. They got guys, they just can't stop. Rui Hachimura is a player they cannot stop. We saw it tonight. He was going off. I am not certain how good tonight would have been for that young man. You really don't know. When you consider, who knows? And so that's what I want to say. It's like, can we please take the cuffs off that guy and let him go wherever he's going to go in regards to his upside? Because we want to win the championship, man. And we're trying to dethrone the guys who have it. Simply put, this is how you get the championship. You got to beat the champs to get it. And the only way you're going to beat the champs is to utilize your strengths when you have opportunities to do so, I believe. But then again, there are always new ways to win. And sometimes you want to hold back what your best strength is to hit them off with it later on when they're not looking. I don't know. But one thing I do know is we just dropped a game against the champs, and we looked pretty bad doing it. And I saw Rui Hachimura going completely nuts offensively. So that and not get the minutes necessary. I just want to see that not take place. Um, am I wrong for that as a fan? I don't believe so. So that's really what my thought is in regards to tonight's game. Game 2. Glad we're leaving Golden State for now. We do understand that because we lost this game, we will be returning there. But for now, we will be back in our own comfortable home, purple and gold, where we can defend our house, take advantage of the star power and the lights and everything that comes with that. I expect there's going to be some record-breaking TV numbers in regards to LA Laker, Golden State Warrior, Laker home game. I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous. That's going to break records, I'm telling you. So I'm curious to see how Kevon Looney will be doing in that game. If his sickness is in fact a sickness, I'm for one thinking it's absolute strategy in regards to that team. And not a very bad one when you consider what it is that they're up against. It confused us. It caught us off guard. JaMychal Green played great, stretched the floor in some ways that we weren't prepared for, and I think it had a great deal to do with why we were off balance there. Could have been a perfect storm for them. Maybe, something that just really genuinely is in place, and then they found something. I don't know, but hopefully he's all right. Most important. But either way, I think what you have now is the Lakers wondering that instead of preparing for him. I think you have him resting just as much as we rested tonight, if not more. And every single game, I expect some type of tactic or antic or something of that nature that these champs are going to throw at us. Some type of misdirection. In game 1, they took the powder out of LeBron's, talcum powders, whatever you call this, signature move before the game. They took all the powder out of it. Like, you know what I'm saying? That just lets you know what type of psychological stuff that Draymond Green and them dudes are doing over there. And so, this is an old champion. These aren't kids. They're not new to this. You know what I'm saying? In any way, they've been very successful throughout the course of their tenure and are in the history books for their accomplishments. So these are not people that you're just going to be able to have an advantage against and think they're not going to still be able to beat you. And so that's what I come to understand. As I've said, I got Lakers in 6, but we're starting to look like the Sacramento Kings, to where we have our advantages, but it really don't matter. And so I want to see us flex. At the end of the day, we got 2 of the best players to ever play this game as well on our team, and we're hell of accomplishes our own right? So let's put this team in a position to see our best bet in the third quarter, in the third matchup rather, in game 3, and take back what it is that ultimately we gained by winning game 1, which was home court advantage. I really firmly believe that the Golden State Warriors are up against it, playing against this team. But this team has to realize who they are going up against the Golden State Warriors and balance it out in regards to how much respect they give this great NBA championship dynasty. They deserve our respect, but we respect ourselves, and we think we can beat them this year. So if we play our best ball, we like our chances. So that's what I like, man. That's what I like. The mentality of the Los Angeles Lakers is that we should be getting our rest right now. I think you do watch the tape of this game and pay attention to where some things went wrong. A guy like Dennis Schroeder needs to get much more involved. It can't just be 4 free throws and a couple steals to be smiling about. I'm sorry, that's not going to get it done for me. I need more from you, the consistency in these playoffs. When you're trying to get somebody to pay you a bag, brother, the consistency is one of the most important things they're looking for in this time of the year. If you're not 100% healthy or your role is a little inconsistent, I get it, but you can't walk out of here with no field goals in a playoff game. That needs to be something that doesn't happen within this role for your team to win the game, in my opinion. Especially when a guy like Austin Reeves isn't isn't giving us much. You know, we just need Dennis Schroeder to be upright and laced up with his bootstraps ready to go. Straight up. Soldier, let's go. And that's what I'm saying to every player on this team. You know, Anthony Davis had the right attitude, but the wrong execution. And he's going to have to overcome this demon. Every other game, 11 points. You know, you're sick of people complaining about it. I get it. But at the same time, we got to hold you accountable. You see what happens when you go high scoring, high rebounds? Your team walks away with a win. When you walk away with 11 points, you see how we look? It's really that simple. It's playoff time. It's not the time to be screaming at people. It ain't the time to be walking away from your teammate in any way in regards to being frustrated with his play. No, we got to be pressing the right buttons in regards to how we're going to win, how we're going to overcome what it is we're going up against. And at this point, we've made every mistake in the book throughout the course of the season, and we've also overcome a lot of those problems. And I don't even recognize the team that we are today in comparison to who we were at the beginning of the season, because we were so bad, so inept, had so many different players doing things so much differently in regards to wrong, that when we fast forward today in this big time loss, I'm still extremely proud, because I thought we looked great out there in comparison to where we started. And I think we've come a long way. Our team is in the second round and just got hit in the mouth by the defending champions in a desperation attempt, because we beat them in the first game of this series. So that's the situation. We ain't just come out there and lay an egg. It wasn't like we came out there and were lackadaisical, so to speak. We didn't go out there and cough the ball up 27 times. It wasn't none of that. None of that. They made a specific adjustment because they probably stayed up all damn night and all afternoon watching Laker highlights from since we probably made the trade, and they studied us playing against them, and they studied us playing against everybody else, and then they looked at every single way we did every little thing, and they said we're going to put ourselves in a position to get in the way. All of it. And because of it, it had that type of result. At the end of the day, you ain't going to ever know how to stop something like that unless you've seen somebody do that before to you, as to which we haven't, not as a team, or unless they've done it to you before themselves, as to which they haven't. This was the first one. Time they were able to showcase that, obviously. So that's all that happened, man. We're in the middle of the playoffs. This is how it goes. A lot of teams don't win this game. You know what I mean? That's how it goes. So I think the Lakers are in a great spot. I still think we're constructed to beat this team. I'm confident. I think they should be very confident. And I think they're gassed, so they should be getting some sleep. And that is it. But I'm fired up. I'm not tired at all. I think this team has everything it needs to come back and do well. And I don't think we're going to have officiating issues that we had tonight, because this was a special trio tonight that I think was put in position to extend the series. I believe that. I do. And so I think under those circumstances, the Lakers probably played that the right way. Take your foot off the gas, maintain your health, give your youngsters an opportunity to get some playoff minutes, see what they can do. It just makes sense to me. I ain't gonna lie. I don't think I would have done anything different. It becomes a situation where it's like your effort may not be the best strategy when the game is built for you to lose. The effort needs to be in strategizing a way to utilize the rest that you receive from them doing it this way. It's like, all right, fine, because what else you gonna do? You'll look up in Game 6 and have all the energy necessary to run in overtime because of Game 2, where you only had 30 minutes of player. It's all right. I hate it. Don't get it twisted. You want to sweep the champs, but at the end of the day, nobody's sweeping the champs. You're not sweeping Steph Curry. The NBA ain't letting that happen. Klay Thompson's gonna hit 8 threes. You see what I'm saying? That talent, he ain't sleeping them. What you need is to get some sleep and some rest, and you got it. So that's what I gotta say. Thanks for watching. BDF.